Hello, welcome back to the L1 show. Today's October 21st, and we're doing our normal Friday routine of space robot and nonsense stories for you to enjoy.
And actually, this is not a robot. I don't think we can describe this as a robot, right? But I felt like it should go in the robot section because we're kind of using it like a robot. I would say this is more of a proto-cyborg.
This stresses me out, this story does.
Yeah, I worry that, it's like we never know when we're going to cross over the line here of like, this thing can now suffer.
Yeah.
Lab-grown brain cells. Oh, no.
What did I do? I closed one browser window.
We're fixing it.
That's the capture device.
Oh, just pretend that...
Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. I have to switch. And I have to hide this from you. And then, because I would have shown you the straight desktop, and that wouldn't have worked.
There we go.
And
now you
then
get
I have to turn this back on.
Lab-grown brain cells play video game Pong.
And me. They're like whispering in their little petri dish.
The scientists were very careful to repeatedly point out it's not conscious, it's not playing Pong the way that you or I would play Pong. It's just a clump of neural cells were taught to play Pong, and it was able to play Pong.
But not well. It had just over a random, if you just had the paddle move in random directions, this was slightly better than that. But it couldn't win consistently. However, when the ball would get past it and then reset, they observed it changing its thought process. So they're like, yeah, it's playing. It's definitely playing. So we can have a really stupid slave cyborg someday.
Excellent.
It tries to take something out of the microwave for you. It's just dumping it all over the floor. It trips, it falls, knocks over everything on your counter.
Your pets are dead.
I was thinking about the conversations in the office where this was being developed, and the only thing that was playing over and over in my brain was the sharks with lasers scene from Austin Powers. What does it take to get some sharks with freaking laser beams? But it was, some brain cells that play Pong.
That's terrifying.
It takes billions of dollars maybe.
Yeah, to achieve that.
And of course, the AIs that generate all the things, music, video, images, we love it. We want more of it. And Microsoft wants to make it easy for the noobs.
Microsoft brings DALL-E 2 to the masses with designer and image creator. Gone are the days of inserting boring, awful, samey stock clip art. It'll just do it with AI. You don't have to pay artists anymore. This is great.
Now, here's the best thing about Microsoft's version. If you're thinking, why should I use Microsoft's version over rolling my own? Well, here's why. All of your Microsoft creations will be screened by the Microsoft screening AI to make sure that you're not creating anything that they don't like.
Oh, that doesn't sound like a reason to use it, though.
No, it's very important. If you were to make anything adult or copyright violating, you wouldn't want that at all.
But what if I did, though?
Then you're a monster.
What if I am making posters to seize the means of computation?
That's probably borderline.
That sounds like you're promoting Linux and not Microsoft. Heretic.
And, every day we get one step closer to our whole reality just being generated on the fly and nothing being real. And here's a terrifying preview of that.
Ars Technica reports that fake Joe Rogan has interviewed fake Steve Jobs in an AI-powered podcast. So it was a PR stunt from some, what was it, an Israeli company?
Yeah, they have a website, something or other .ht or whatever. You can read the article. If you don't know, we provide a one tab in the article, and or in the description, you can just go and look at all the articles. It's interesting though, because obviously we've got thousands and thousands of hours of high quality Joe Rogan to train an AI on. Not so much Steve Jobs. So his voice was clearly worse.
What if someone does that to us?
I think the contents of the interview were staged, but it would be interesting to have the AI see if it could come up with the actual.
I think they groomed it a little bit, but they did have like a GPT style generator build the script and then fed that to the voice.
I thought that's what they were saying, but then some parts of it, I think it was more heavily groomed than they let on.
Probably.
Yeah.
What if you just let a Joe Rogan bot train off of his actual words, it would get into stuff that would not be palatable for the masses very quickly.
Yeah.
Well, here's not a shocking headline at all. We already knew this because we've seen all the arrest videos and horrible crashes and so forth.
Reuters reports what we have said just about every episode of the news that features Elon Musk. Many U.S. drivers treat partially automated cars as self-driving. Study. I can't imagine why they would get the idea that their cars are fully self-driving. Where would they get such a crazy idea?
Yeah,
Elon
I mean,
Musk, the marketing material. I mean, take your pick.
what do they call that? Oh, right, full self-driving.
It's like USB, high-speed USB and full-speed USB. And it's like, this seems like it's lying to me.
They have the percentages on there, and yeah, a lot of Tesla drivers, I think they were the worst. Just totally trust it.
Isn't that what you always say? They're just the worst. It's like, what about what?
And now that the video card market has cooled down, you don't need to resort to your robot buddies to help you buy them. But those robots, they're out of jobs. How are we going to keep them working?
Nike moves to curb sneaker buying bots and resale market with penalties. Now, before reading this, I had readied my torches and pitchforks. But reading this, the whole article is Nike is going to try to harden their website against the bots. That's all it is.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
And-
first, like once you buy the shoe, Nike can't do crap. That's for sale doctrine.
And they're going to try to use AI to detect patterns of,
Look at it on that MasterCard AI.
yeah.
I have a friend who's really into sneakers, and he's been trying to get, I think it was a pair of Yeezys. And he said it was like constantly fighting the bots. Like as soon as they'd go up on the website, you couldn't get it because the bots would get all of
Humanity
them.
is doomed.
There's,
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of those shoplifting videos, and a lot of them, when they get caught, they'll just be like, dude, I'm hungry. And it's like, okay, well, that's sad. Maybe you are hungry, but it's like, wait a minute, you're wearing LeBron James shoes. Aren't those $400?
Maybe they were a gift.
You can still sell them.
Yeah, you could. It is crazy, the resale market for fancy tennis shoes.
And as I said earlier, we're in the part where the AI generated everything. There are people out there furiously thinking of a new thing to use AI to generate.
AI music generators could be a boon for artists, but also problematic. There's some examples. You should go listen to them. The examples are not very good, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but think about where the image generation was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Does this mean like more and more bizarre music will come out? I'm actually kind of for that.
Yeah.
As humans decide like, all right, I can't just put out the same drivel as the AI. Let me get weirder with it.
I don't think it'll be like that though. I think because if once that is commercialized, the AI will quickly zero in on the average, the most popular average, the thing that most people like, which will be the most boring, mundane.
That's my point though, is like humans might be pushed to
Oh, I
not
see
make
what
that
you're
kind of
saying.
content anymore because it's like, oh, an AI can do that. Why would I do that? Because, yeah.
I imagine the AI would quickly settle on like Nickelback,
I'm
Just
thinking more,
generic.
like I'm thinking top 40 radio kind of stuff.
Well, that's what they definitely were.
Yeah.
Rock music is not as popular. There'd probably be a hip hop element to it these days.
Yeah, yeah.
But still, it would be just that generic kind of thing. Now, last week we learned that college campuses are just crawling with robots. And these robot delivery companies, in some situations, are doing quite well, which makes this sting even more for Mr. Bezos.
Amazon has abandoned live tests of its Scout home delivery robot. No! We mentioned that last week, but there weren't a lot of stories yet. Reuters did a pretty good job here.
They pulled
We
a
barely
Google on
knew
it.
ye. Rip in peace, little scout.
I really wish that somebody could get the inside scoop on how the pilot robots are going inside the Amazon warehouses, because the pickers and the truck unloaders and that kind of thing, if those work really well, Amazon's probably going to buy 100,000 of those.
That'll do bad things to our labor force, won't it? And in Denmark, they got a wild new idea on how to use AI. I can't say that this sounds good to me. This sounds pretty terrifying.
This Danish political party is led by an AI. If you're wondering what this would be like, there's several episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation where they tackle a society led by a computer. Spoiler alert, it did not end well.
It might not go exactly like that.
Very similar though.
So these guys, they don't think they're going to win. They're trying to get one seat. The political systems in Europe are a little different. And if you can get a certain amount of votes, you can get one seat. That's what they want here.
I'm really looking forward to the AI that will take everything that a politician has said and can immediately respond to something they're saying now, and in terms of how inconsistent it is with what they said previously.
What's interesting, because that's kind of it's the opposite of that's what they're doing here. They're trying to take all of the underrepresented political parties from history and train the AI based on what they wanted. So this AI at once represents all of the unrepresented. But that just seems like it'd be a mess.
Yeah.
The party of the neuroatypicals.
And space tourism, it's coming back in a big way. There's lots of people with a lot of money, and they're looking to get rid of that money for an experience.
SpaceX announces a second private flight to the moon aboard Starship.
I hope they fix the bathroom problems.
This is just another flyby, right?
Oh, yeah, they're definitely not going to land. So these two actually did this in, was it 2017, I think? Or maybe it was sooner than that, earlier than that. But this guy has been to the moon before. And he's looking to go back. Had such a good experience, I guess.
The Space Buckies was really worth it.
He wants those moon nuggets.
Yeah.
Been thinking about them for all those years. And Amazon is still working on the trying to get their own satellites up there to compete with Mr. Musk, but they've had a setback.
Amazon changes rockets for launch of prototype Kuiper internet satellites, pushing mission to 2023.
Kuiper.
So they can't launch. They're going with Lockheed and Boeing's launch. You gotta again, Bezos is probably freaking out over the Lord of the Rings thing. That's probably why this was delayed. We have another story about somebody that quit to go do their own rocket, and they're making more progress.
Yeah.
You know what? They should take the masters of the Lord of the Rings show and put that on a rocket and launch into space so we can forget it ever happened. I've not actually seen it. I've seen one episode. I'm taking everybody's word that it's
It doesn't
crap.
get better.
Chris, you haven't seen any episodes.
I've seen enough clips of it to know. The sea is always right. That's a real line. Said by a real person in a real TV show.
Kristen, name me one time the sea was wrong.
Well, there's another, okay, spoiler if you're watching it, but there's another scene where the character who's constantly saying the sea is always right is like, but also my wife drowned in the ocean.
He probably hated her.
No,
Maybe
apparently he's supposed to be sad about it. It's like, wait, what?
Secretly, he's like, oh, I'm so glad I got rid of her. The sea really did me
What
a
happened to
favor.
her mom? The sea is always right. Also, she drowned.
Maybe she drowned in a puddle.
A river.
A
yeah.
lake. Now, this is good news, I suppose. But here's my thought process here. Who controls most spaceflight right now? Billionaires. Individual billionaires. Now, they have to go through some red tape and stuff, but they could easily get up there and change their mind and make things do something that they said, like, oh, here's the flight plan, and then change their mind, right? So technically, an evil billionaire could do this in the opposite direction if they really wanted to, right? Think about that.
NASA says the DART mission succeeded in shifting the asteroid's orbit. Woo! So we need to keep the Lex Luthor type out of space.
And look exactly who was going up there. So this actually was way more successful than we thought. I thought we had to wait longer to find out about this, but they were expecting if it were 11 seconds, that would be a success. It was 32 minutes of orbit change.
What?
Pretty-
I'm imagining a scenario where like Musk is up there and they're like, hey, while you're up there, can you, change the trajectory of this? And then someone tweets that he's a big old meanie head and he's like, no, I'm going to put it right at their house.
Yeah, that's
That's
exactly
the world
what
we're
happened.
moving to.
Never mind that's an extinction event.
Whatever.
This was I guess that means that this was a much less massive asteroid than expected.
No, I think it's just the space device had more of an impact than we thought.
Who knew?
Well,
Thanks, NASA.
another SpaceX competitor, they're just popping up like daisies or dandelions after a rain. Oh, got that wrong. But this one, I like the idea of 5G from space. That sounds good. I mean, it could have terrible side effects, but let's try it anyway.
SpaceX competitor Lynk testing 5G cell phone service from space.
Oh, Oh, you know what I forgot to add? Did you guys see the story about the black hole? That for the first time ever, we've observed a black hole vomiting.
I think someone in the lounge mentioned that, but I didn't see the news story. They were referencing it though.
It's now spewing stuff out, and no one can figure out why.
Oh,
There's a spaceship.
I don't want to get any on you.
running an experiment.
And we have yet another space company, and they are looking at a different kind of booster to get into space. This is kind of a cool idea, more of like a basket that you just pile stuff onto.
Stoke Space aims to build a rapidly reusable rocket with a completely novel design, while also probably the nicest burn of Blue Origin ever, which is Blue Origin's been in business for 20 years, and they're still not in space. So this guy worked there for 10 years, and then he left.
Ooh.
So it's two guys, and they've come up with this, and the test burn seems like it's going really well.
Where's the fuel, though? I guess the fuel would have to be on the payload.
Yeah. This is the second stage. This isn't for takeoff. This is for maneuvering and stuff once you get to the edge of space and or in space.
That's cool, though. Having just a thing that keeps going up and down all day long, that's where you would have to get to have any kind of space stuff. Well, this headline is stupid, but it's just interesting that, our leaders are trying to get their heads around AI. I don't know if they ever will.
Robot falls asleep or malfunctions while being quizzed by lords in some house somewhere.
The great thing about this one is they put a bag over her head to reboot her, and everybody was like, why are you doing that? This seems weird and wrong. And they're like, well, when she reboots, her expressions can get quite scary. So, because she's supposed to have that realistic,
All the motors reset. And it's just like, it's like Total Recall. Have you ever seen Total Recall when he's putting on the face mask? It's like that.
Well, they put a bag over her head. It's so disturbing that they had to put a bag over her
Or
head.
Inner Space when he's at the dinner, when he's, pretending to be the other guy and then his face malfunctions. It's like that.
There's a deep cut.
Engagement challenge. Did you get the reference?
Bet you've never seen that one.
No.
It was a guy who drove a spaceship around inside another guy's body.
That's just an episode of Magic School Bus.
Well, it was a little more realistic, I guess. And of course, we're all going to be in self-driving cars soon. And the big question the companies have is, while you are sitting in that self-driving car, not having to watch the road, how can we show you ads?
Sony and Honda envision an EV that entertains while it takes the wheel. That's it. That's the story.
Basically, there's going to be a PlayStation in the cars.
Next.
That only shows you ads. You have to have a higher tier to get no ads.
Oh, I missorted this one. This is the start of nonsense. I just got to do this to blend in with the space. We got Bill Shatner, and this is, TLDR. Bill Shatner's trying to sell a book.
William Shatner, my trip to space filled me with overwhelming sadness. And he's going to talk about it in a book that you should buy. And it's like, why would going to space fill you with overwhelming sadness? It's like,
find out.
Everything that ever has been or will be was on that blue marble, and we're all just fighting with each other, and it's so bad.
There's also got to be a little bit of, I'm not going to be able to see this ever again.
Yeah.
Because how old is he now?
Too old to do that trip again.
And astonishingly spry for his age. Whatever Bill Shatner's doing, we all need to start trying to do that. We did the story a while back, and this man has been true to his word. He's done it, and he's going to do it again.
Damien Hirst just burned 1,000 of his paintings and will soon burn thousands more. This is a follow-up to a story we covered a couple of weeks ago, where an artist created a bunch of paintings and said, if you want to buy the NFT of the painting, you can decide whether I ship you the painting or you keep the NFT. And if you keep the NFT, I destroy the painting. And he has.
Krista, are these copies or are these all unique?
I think they're all unique.
Oh my God, they're the same thing.
Yeah. So Damien Hirst, if you don't know that particular artist, his whole thing is just going against the establishment. So he kind of does troll art. So the other thing that he's known for is like a human skull covered in diamonds. There's a giant shark in formaldehyde, I think, in the Indianapolis Museum of Art. Like that kind of stuff. So this is very on brand for him.
Neat.
I don't understand why the dots are.
It's literally just something he can produce quickly, most likely.
Would it be considered art if I put, a really classic Pentium Pro processor in formaldehyde?
If you could find a way to justify it to the art overlords, yeah.
And find somebody to buy it.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's just based on who will buy it.
Yeah, that's the old quote. It's like, how much is something worth? Whatever somebody's willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
It's worth at least $100 just in gold.
Well, we did some stories about gun buybacks and some really enterprising individuals who printed some guns and got their gift cards. Now, it's difficult to say that that's not allowed because then you're saying that 3D printed guns aren't actually a risk. So how do you get around it? They've come up with a stupid rule, but it kind of fixes it.
New York changes the gun buyback after seller gets $21,000 for 3D printed parts. The parts were just little cards that would make something full auto. So it was a minimum amount of material, but that was classified under New York law as a ghost gun, which tells you how messed up New York law is.
So the new rule, the gun must be able to fire more than once. That's the new rule. So if you just hastily print a 3D printed gun, expect to have to prove that. Although, how could you? Because in the city of New York, you cannot fire a gun. Who's going to test it?
It's a lot of bureaucracy.
And then let's say that they make a city worker test it or a cop and it blows up in their hand and they lose fingers. What happens then? New Zealand, do you know that New Zealand had more cows and sheep than people?
Mm-hmm.
What a cool place to live.
Yeah.
But they don't want it to be like that.
New Zealand angers its farmers by proposing taxing cow burps. What if you feed your cows so they burp less? That was an option.
Yeah, I think, don't the grass-fed cows, aren't they better at that?
If I remember the story, it was if you feed your cows something else along with the grass, they still metabolize the grass, but they produce way less gas. It's just helping them have a healthier gut biome. Because I eat a lot of beans. It makes sense.
You're part of the problem.
You gotta go on a low gas diet or you'll be taxed.
You know, you're not eating red meat, so that's good for the environment.
Yeah.
But now you're generating gas as
So
well.
much more methane.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't
So
know.
much.
Is that a net positive or a net negative?
Meanwhile, BP spills millions of gallons of oil in the Gulf of Mexico and we're like, oh, that's fine.
So many beans.
But the CEO of the oil companies, they never eat a bean to offset that.
Yeah, obviously.
They just drink gruel. All right. Here's a public service announcement. And we need to do this every year because every year, all the media companies march out these stupid stories. No one is trying to give your kids free drugs. No one is. Why would they? Drugs are expensive and they don't want to give them to your kids. It's stupid and they're just getting clicks.
The headline is Rainbow Fentanyl a threat to your kids this Halloween? Experts say no.
Anytime a headline has a question in it,
No.
the answer is almost
No.
always no. Yeah.
No.
So yeah, it turns out that rainbow fentanyl is actually just the fentanyl cartels trying to differentiate their product from other products. They're like, we got the best stuff. Get these yellows.
So not only would a drug dealer have to be insane, they'd have to put together all the different brands into one kaleidoscope. And it's just, that is more effort and planning than they would be capable of.
And getting nothing in return.
Yeah.
Except maybe murder charges. Whereas they could take those same pills, go down to a certain neighborhood, and sell them all immediately. I think once in a while, now that weed is legal and they have edibles, sometimes those get mixed in by accident. But it's probably not on purpose.
Yeah. And also definitely not lethal.
Yeah, well, your kids, they'll take a little trip probably, but they'll survive it. They might be better at coming out of it. You know what? That might be a good thing, or it's like, yeah, that's why you never mess with drugs. Little Timmy.
Feeling all paranoid and jumpy.
And this week we have another instance of someone who works with children having a really, really bad idea and no one catching it.
Pastor who gave kids I Heart Hot Youth Pastor stickers placed on leave.
In what world does someone like, yeah, that's a good idea? Maybe the youth pastor's wife could have that sticker, but maybe no one else.
So I'm not familiar with, apparently he was trying to parody the I Heart Hot Moms meme. I don't know that one.
I've never seen that. I'm not super up on like the TikToks though, so I could be wrong. But I don't think that's a meme.
He's not been fired, but the church has, I think it was a Catholic church, have said that he's been talked to.
It's a little tone deaf. We kind of have a big PR problem here about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe don't put a sticker.
Maybe the whole idea is it's like, we know that you kids are tired of being abused by old, ugly priests. So we got a whole new program for you.
Ugh.
And of course, you know, diversity, inclusion, danger. You got to keep the kids from anything that's unsafe. They're ruining everyone's childhood.
Pennsylvania School District cancels Halloween parades over safety and inclusivity concerns.
Who doesn't like Halloween?
I thought that this was just, oh, we can't have the school run it, and some parents would step up and get a permit, and it would just be, you know, a parent function. But no, they've lost their minds.
But it's during the school day.
Yeah.
So if you are, I guess, like Muslims maybe?
I guess.
But they said that they did have students who would not participate in Halloween for whatever reason.
And they had to hang out in the library.
All day long.
That seems fine.
Yeah, what's the problem there? If they can't participate, let them go to the library or keep them out of school for a day.
Give them a ball pit.
Yeah.
Something like that, you know?
The library's full of books. What else do they need?
Tell them not to jump at all in the ball pit.
Bring in some console gaming.
Could you just do, like, a lot of places will just do like a fall fest. So it'll have Halloween, like a costume thing maybe, but you don't have to participate in the costume and you can just do the harvest activities. That would be a good middle ground, right?
It's like, oh, you don't want to play dodge. Like, we're going to do all day dodgeball special event. It's like, oh, I would not be looking forward to that. It's like, okay, if you don't want to do that, you can go read a book all day in the library. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, great.
Sounds good
Yeah.
to me.
There's a lot of middle grounds that could have been reached before just canceling it outright.
They disagree. They say that's absolutely wrong. Now here's you know, the heat wave is over, thank God. We lived through it.
Yeah.
This one was deleted and then added back in the list.
Oh, did you delete it?
No, it was crossed out. And then somebody pasted it right below the crossed out version.
Oh, that's just because there were 2 copies of it.
Oh, okay.
I was crossing out, so I didn't want to add it twice.
Yeah. I kept expecting there to be a technology connection to this one, but it's just sad.
No, this is just straight nonsense.
Yeah.
This is be careful who you leave your kids with.
Florida car rental employees find toddler left in returned vehicle. So it was the kid's grandfather. He was supposed to watch the toddler. He forgot the toddler in the car, but the parent was like, wait, because the parent, I guess, picked him up from the car rental place. And it was like, wait, where's the 2-year-old? It's like, oh, I left him at home. It's like, you left the toddler? We got to race
We left
back.
the stove on, whatever.
Do you think that was a lie or a senior moment?
I don't know.
And if it was a lie, what was the end game?
Well, the old guy was taken
Or
to
he
jail
genuinely forgot.
on one count of child endangerment.
Yeah. So
Or abandoning a child or something. It's like, oh, that's kind of sad.
it was an 80-degree day, but the kid was only there for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, the kid's okay. But I mean, good
It gets
lord.
pretty hot in a car, though, even at 80 degrees if the
Yeah.
windows are rolled up.
They said the kid was very warm and tear-streaked.
Yeah, probably crying and screaming, yeah.
But
Which, again, how did no one notice that? What's that sound every time they walk past?
but also, how do you find out that's a terrible way to find out your parent is going mentally.
Yeah.
And also, but like, you know, he had to have some moment where he was like, God, I'm forgetting something.
Yeah, you would think.
Why is the string tied around my finger?
Well, it's some people, when they have children, as like a precaution, they'll put like a Post-it note on their dash. It's like, always check the back seat. Just to make sure, because there's been so many issues where someone, you know, just is on autopilot or they're sleep deprived and they leave their kid in the back seat.
Yeah, I can see sleep deprivation really making.
Yeah.
Because when I'm sick or something, and I'm no longer a functional human being.
What about we have weight sensors for the passenger seat that turns the airbag on and off?
Yeah.
Why not weight sensor the back
back?
seats? And it's like, hey, ding, 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 there's a car seat back there.
There's a kid. Yeah.
Next week, Tesla, Elon Musk is going to see this headline. He's going to see this story, and he's like, "Good news! We pushed out a software update for, you know, our Tesla vehicles that are like, if there's motion in your car after you shut it off, you're going to get text messages constantly."
But with a Tesla, that would be actually one use case for the horrible top-down control. You could just call them up and be like, hey, there's a kid dying in this car, turn the AC on. And they could.
They have the pet control thing where it's
Yeah.
like keeps the AC on for the pet, but not children, I guess.
This is your weekly reminder that in the modern day, college is stupid. You're going to spend a ton of money, way too much money. You're going to be in debt, and you're going to come out of it with not a lot of job prospects because they're not giving you a real education anymore.
UC Berkeley to offer a new course about Nicki Minaj, spring 2023. Artist says she'd love to stop by and see the class.
I don't understand this. I don't understand why it's just Nicki Minaj and not like a history of hip hop class.
Because she is a FemC, Krista. Of course, you know what that is, right?
No.
It's a mashup of feminist and master of ceremonies. MC.
Couldn't they just do like a history of women in hip hop and then cover Nicki Minaj?
Well,
like,
I mean, in one semester, how are you going to really drill down and find
Starships was a massive hit when I was in high school.
You actually know the names of them?
I know one song. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about black feminism. Apparently, Nicki Minaj is at the head of that.
But there's so like they do history classes that are like history of rock and roll or history of like this very particular time period. Why would you just do one about just Nicki Minaj, especially because she doesn't play the instruments or anything, as far as I'm aware?
I don't know, Krista. When I'm doing a mental list, I'm sitting here. I'm like, okay, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, yeah, Nicki Minaj, number 3 for sure. Absolutely. This is really cool, Krista. You like alternative homes?
Yeah, I
You're
like
into
to watch that kind of
thing.
stuff.
How would you
yeah.
like one? Not a houseboat, but just a house that floats. How would that grab you?
That's my husband loves watching houseboat tours. I myself, I would rather be on the land.
Well, you'd hate this one.
Yeah. 1.5 million floating home prototype sinks into the water at unveiling.
I thought there was a typo in this article because it's $1.5 million. It didn't sink fully. Nobody got hurt. It's kind of lulls, but is this some sort of, and that's the observation deck? No, this thing is 700 square feet, and it costs $1.5 million.
But that's because a lot of it is underwater, and that's how it reaches buoyancy.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
like
apparently it's not that buoyant.
So they said it was the spa something. I get the idea that there's a part of it that wants to get the water sometimes.
The spa, apparently.
And that part broke down. There was a jacuzzi, I think.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And so the jacuzzi was just spraying water up as it went down.
Oh.
But they say that because these homes are so eco-friendly, even if it sinks to the bottom, won't hurt the fish at all.
I kind of doubt that.
$1.5 million.
Like, wouldn't just basic insulation be bad for the water?
Yeah, plastic, microplastics.
$1.5 million would buy a lot
Oil?
of houseboats.
But what an amazing, you know how when you get fish in a fish tank and you put the little castles down in there? What an amazing castle for the local fish.
Oh, yeah, they could put their eggs and stuff in it.
I did a project once where I learned the difference between a houseboat and a boathouse.
Well, you
A
can't just say
project?
that.
What were you working on that you needed that distinction?
Things to advertise both of those.
Oh, you were doing a website. Okay. I thought you were trying to create one.
No.
I think you played some Far Cry 6, didn't you?
I did. It was a lot
Yeah,
of
we
fun.
watched
liked
it
it?
play. Yeah.
It was not $120 fun.
Well, but was it Game of the Year?
No, they didn't make Game of the Year.
They disagree.
Ubisoft thinks you should pay $120 for Far Cry 6 Game of the Year Consolation Edition, even though it didn't win a Game of the Year award. No, it was a runner-up. It wasn't a runner-up. I'm making that up.
I see a lot of different Game of the Year versions, though. So, like, do you just have to win some arbitrary... We should do a level 1 Game of the Year award and just sell it.
It was actually a good game. They just oversold it a little bit.
It's got Gus Fring in it. How could it be bad?
That's probably why they're trying to sell it again, because they're like, we really need to make our money back.
I gotta wonder if that actor is like, wait, I'm basically playing the same character in this video game.
He probably got paid for it.
Yeah, I think he's going to be playing a lot of that character
Yeah.
because he was good at it. And if he's smart, he'll just keep playing it and collecting those checks. Now, Krista, you sent me a story about this. I think I knew that I already had this in the news, but I think there was another update. Do you know who won?
It was 747, I think.
Ah, okay. Well, he won the semifinals, but who won the finals?
Oh, I thought it was 747. Was it not?
It might have been because he did win the semifinals.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was controversy.
Ballots have been stuffed. Voting scandal rocks Alaska's Fat Bear contest.
Is nothing sacred?
So apparently, people stuffed the ballot box for Holly, but it wasn't a legit victory.
And there were photos in this article of Holly, and Holly is not fat compared to 747. Sorry.
Wow.
She's still putting on weight. Maybe next year.
What a harsh thing to say about Holly.
People cheating in an online contest. No.
But why?
Who could have predicted?
Like, what do you gain from Holly being the fattest
Maybe
bear?
Holly lives in their backyard or something.
Actually, my heart goes out to the tech team that supported the website because they probably got emails at all hours of the day and night that were, it won't take my submission. I don't know why.
I can't vote again.
Yeah.
Whoever did this waited till right before the deadline and then spiked Holly. And it was super obvious. Probably used the same IP address. You know who's really got hurt here? Holly.
Yeah. She thought she had a chance.
Imagine, like, at first she found out and she was so proud. Plus her daughter was in it. So they were probably celebrating. They probably had like a salmon dinner.
She got her hopes up.
And then 747 just crushed her. He's never gonna let her live.
Literally and figuratively crushed her.
I think didn't we cover this last year? Didn't 747 win last year?
Yeah. He's a 4-time winner. I think maybe
He's a
that's
big
the
boy.
scandal, huh? Maybe somebody's cheating for him. How do we know?
Maybe he's taking supplements. He's bulking.
Does 747 have a lady friend? We need some progeny here.
Somebody, because apparently this matters to people, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's out there just taking like 5-gallon jugs of corn syrup and throwing them
leaving
at
them out.
747.
A
Like, there
fed
you
bear is
go,
a
buddy.
dead bear trap. Someone's doing it.
The night before, he just pounded salt and vinegar potato chips. It was like, gotta get water, gotta retain this water, gotta win. But get ready for next year, huh?
Yeah.
It's the most exciting thing about October.
This was something to look forward to. I've enjoyed both weeks of stories about the Fat Bear contest.
Engagement challenge. Are you going to dress up as one of the fat bears for Halloween?
Some people are going to comment that we already are.
We are the Fat Bears. What if we all dress like the bears next week?
That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, it does. I actually was looking for Halloween decor. I can't find spider web.
Christy, you would be the worst bear.
I'd be the little bear. I would be like Goldilocks.
There'd be so much loose bear costume on you.
Yeah. Oh, we have to make
She needs
costumes.
the inflatable bear costume.
Oh,
The
yeah.
one has like the little air pump. And
I was at the hardware store the other day. They didn't have spider web, but they had the big inflatables. And I was like, I should get one for the set. That'd be so funny. But
they
they're
work on
noisy.
fans,
Yeah. You guys wouldn't be able to hear us. It'd be
The
slightly
whole
annoying.
time.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Next week's Halloween. In case you need a reminder.
oh, Lord.
We'll see you then. Bye.